Hi, I'm Fred Turek. I'm here to teach you about how to sleep out in the snow and be warm and comfortable. This is like, for example, on a nice winter weekend out in the Midwest, like a Boy Scout Klondike. We're going to learn how to do it today. In preparation for this, I've slept out below freezing about 400 nights, including down to about 40 below zero and 100 below zero. Studied it all, read this many things about it, so we want to make sure we're giving you the right information here. Normally in staying warm, whenever you're out in the cold, you want to stay warm, but you don't want to stay too warm. Normally you're striking a balance, and there's two things that work against each other. Cold tends to tip the balance to make you chillier. Insulation makes you warmer. And normally activity makes you warmer when you're moving around. When we're sleeping, it's a very low level of activity, so there goes that part of the equation. So you mostly have just your insulation. Good news is that means you need more insulation than you need during the day, but it is a lot simpler because you have one device, a sleeping bag, versus a lot of different parts of clothing, for your body. So that does help and make that simpler. So we want to keep this balanced. If we start getting too hot, we may want to plan for less warm sleeping bags, or you may want to unzip the bag or stick your arms out of it when you're adapting moment by moment. Let's talk about the main types of sleeping equipment. We're going to start by talking about sleeping bags. Your most economical route to get one that can actually get you to sub-zero rating is to take two medium weight bags, very low cost rectangular bags. I bought each of these for about $20 a piece at a hardware store. These are just simple rectangular sleeping bags, and if you take one of these and put it inside the other one, you've got a bag that's kind of rated down for sub-zero for a total price of $40 or $50. Now, everyone sleeps a little different regarding what they wear and whether or not they keep their head out of the sleeping bag. I personally, by experience, and I'm not sure the science behind this, I found that if you have a nice warm sleeping bag and don't wear too many clothes to bed, or wear the same clothes that you wear at home, which you're comfortable in, that's the best way to stay warm and comfortable. Now, one exception to that is if you do stick your head out of the sleeping bag, you should wear a hat. A knitted hat like this is a nice one that stays on during the night. Your head dumps out heat all the time, even if it doesn't feel cold. And so if you want your overall body to stay warm, you definitely have to keep your head warm. Some people stick their head out. Some people use the fancier engineered systems in a sleeping bag where it's like a mummy and it goes around your face. I personally don't do either. I actually leave the bag slightly unzipped and I use it like a blanket. And I pull my head totally underneath so I get enough air and ventilation that way. So there's several different styles for normal type sleeping. Whenever you're thinking about adapting or what you're going to do, there's a few variables. One is, are you going with light, medium, or heavyweight gear? Lightest weight would be like backpacking or mountaineering, the nature of your trip. Medium weight might be like canoeing or sledding. Heavyweight might be where the cars are nearby. We're leaning a little towards the medium or heavyweight ones because of the next topic, which is money. You can buy a lighter weight and higher tech gear, or you can buy a little heavier weight and lower cost gear. We're leaning towards finding the lower cost method. So we've seen how to make the most economical type sleeping bag. Another way is to just buy a single bag that's rated for cold. I'd say go 20 degrees colder in the rating that they give you for, like if you're going to camp out at 20 degrees, buy one that's rated 0. That way you have plenty of insulation in the bag and plenty of safety margin, and you can be warm and comfortable. This one here is rated actually very cold, about 40 below zero. It's a synthetic bag, and that's an example of just a single sleeping bag that's warmer. One little add-on which is handy, another variable, is whether or not you're going to be sleeping out under the stars. If we are, I like to add another little, just a fleece. You can buy this as a fleece sleeping bag. I use it as a blanket almost, and you can put it over your face or head. When you sleep out on a cold night, sometimes the frost will settle on you, or maybe even if it snows a bit and you don't want to go in the tent, you can use this to keep small amounts of snow off you. This is fleece, so it's warm when wet. Now we've talked about the sleeping bag. Now let's talk about what's underneath. Remember, I might have said already that the insulator and all this equipment is air. So here it is. There's the insulator. I'm holding it in my hands here. It's dead air, which means it needs thickness, which means the sleeping bag derives its warmth from thickness. When you press on a sleeping bag, when you lay on it, you squeeze that thickness down to zero. So underneath you, there's in essence zero insulation from the ground underneath you. So ground pad is essential. I say I never sleep any time of the year without a ground pad. But winter is absolute necessity. You don't even think about sleeping without one. I like these just closed cell foam rubber ones, like these Ridgest ones here. You really need optimally. You can maybe get by with one of these sleeping on the snow, but I found a double thickness is warranted. So that's your ground pad underneath. That's one method of doing it. Another one is a self-inflating ground pad. There's actually foam inside that kind of springs open. When you loosen the valve here, it expands to a certain amount. You can blow your air in to get a little better. These have a little, when they're pumped up right or filled up right, they have a little more insulation value than those other ones, and so you can usually get by with sleeping on the snow with one of these. These do roll up more compactly. They cost a bit more, and you need to take a little better care of them, make sure you don't puncture them. But that's the other major half of your sleeping gear. Lastly, if you're sleeping out under the stars, if you happen to slide off your ground pad, you don't want to have your sleeping bag sitting in snow. So bring a plastic sheet that's a couple feet bigger than your ground pad all around, maybe about a 6x9. Would be a nice personal one. Go to the hardware store, buy a painter's drop cloth. 2 or 3 mil thickness is a nice thickness for that. And put that on the snow first, then the ground pad, and then your sleeping bag. So hopefully I've taught you how to have a great time out in the snow. So go out there and sleep in that tent or out under the stars and enjoy paradise below zero.